Hello, good evening, and welcome to my world. This could be long or it could be short, depending on the inspiration. To begin with, I came in with the intention of working. I went to the hospital early this afternoon, so I was there for, I would say, 2:30, because I said to my sister yesterday, I had one task to do, and if I had completed that by 2 o'clock, then I would come and bring her some water. I will show you. I've got quite a few props, so I will show them to you as I go. So anyway, I finished my task. It was raining, but I went, which was fortunate because I just hung around until 4 o'clock and just, so I didn't go in the evening. But my reason for going was because I'm going to tell you how inspiration makes you have a far superior quality of life. But in having a far superior quality of life, you also, you can get down a lot just by being in the world around people. So today's a down day, kind of. Not to say that I'm feeling depressed or anything like that. It's just one of these days when I just want to shut myself away from the world. It's like stop the world and let me off. Right, so reason, again, intelligent thinking. You notice things if you have a bit of God in you, you notice things because you think about others. You have initiative. So, prop number one. This is the bottle that I bought for my sister. Because it's got one of these and it makes it easier. The flip top, it makes it easier for her when she's drinking. But so I was going and buying water for her, and then the hospital started giving her just refilling the bottle with bottled water as opposed to tap water, because we don't drink tap water. So I noticed that they were just refilling the bottle, and obviously initiative, when you lack initiative, it wouldn't occur to you that perhaps you need to wash the bottle, or else you could be giving the person germs, which is why I think people go to hospital and they get worse, not better, and sometimes they die because people bring their standards with them to work. So anyway, on my way to the hospital, I stopped and I bought these. See? So she can have one bottle disposed. So I left 6 of them with her. And then I've got these to take with me as and when she needs them, should she need them. Earlier in the morning, I spoke to her consultant because I just, sometimes people see you, especially the way I dress, hoodie and all of that, and people judge you by your attire, and they don't necessarily think beyond that perhaps you've got a brain and you've got ideas and you have some kind of understanding. So I kind of wanted to make an introduction to the consultant, just so that when we meet next Tuesday, he has an idea that he's not talking to a dummy. So among other things, one of the things he said to me, because I let him know that if I need to see a doctor, then in my opinion, I failed. To me, doctors are like undertakers. They are the last people you should want to see in your life, because that means I can't speak for anybody else. I don't want to make any judgments on anybody else. But for myself, I can say if I need to see a doctor, then I failed. So I put it to him in those terms with explanations. So he's a cancer specialist. So what was interesting, he said in our conversation that he himself wouldn't opt for chemotherapy, which is interesting because although he will recommend it for people, he himself wouldn't opt for it. So at that point, I said to him, well, I have never recommended, I'm into all natural remedies, right? So I have never recommended anything to anyone that I've not used for myself and got results from. So I would not tell someone to use something that I've never tried. or that I wouldn't use for myself. So I just find it interesting. So it was good to know that doctors are hypocrites. Some perhaps, maybe not all, but to know that among the profession there are some who will recommend treatments to patients that they themselves would choose not to opt for. So that was interesting. Speaking of things that I would recommend, when I went to the shop, I went to buy something. You need to have ID 16, 18 and over, and I was asked for my ID. So I said I've got quite a few props. So on my face tonight, we have pseudo cream. Sorry, wrong one. Pseudo cream and E45, a combination of. So something's working. If I needed at 54 years old, I went into the shop. Maybe it was how I was dressed, I don't know. But anyway, so they asked for ID. But that's just an example. So like I said, I wouldn't recommend anything that doesn't work for me. So anyway, so that's that. But anyway, so as I said, I was supposed to come home to work. So the deal was I go to the hospital, but I was just literally going to drop the water off. But then I thought I might as well stay because the weather's miserable. And I'm not sure what it's going to be like for the 6 to 8 p.m. visit. And I made the right choice because it was like there was a storm outside. But all of that aside, I didn't, when I came in, actually two things happened. First of all, I couldn't, the job that I wanted to work on, I was going to make 2 blinds and, or start, well, actually not 2, 3, prepare 3 blinds. But under the unnatural light, I couldn't see which side of the fabric was the right side and which was the wrong side. So that's a decision. Normally I make decisions like that in the daytime under the natural light, but I neglected to do that. And so I didn't end up doing any work. I just went and I laid down and I kind of thought, just reflecting on life, just feeling slightly miserable. Like I said, I'm not the type to get depressed or anything. Like, I just think, why do I have to be in this world when it's not working for me, kind of thing. But it's interesting because sometimes when there are things that I need to think about, I feel sleepy and like I have a natural inclination to retire to my bed, which is what I did. So I was in bed at 7. And right, so basically here's a God bit. When God wants to have a conversation with me, sometimes he makes me sleepy. So I get into the bed. And so the conversation that developed, it was the storm was raging outside. But okay, so what I've come away with is that we are not supposed to be governed by people who are less intelligent than us. So, for example, when I used to go to church, I had issues with the church leaders because I was more intelligent than them. And they, some of the instructions coming from them was nonsense. But the difference with going to church and being in the world is that you can stop going to the church. But how in the world you can't stop being in the world unless you decide to terminate yourself. And I'm not the type to do that because I love life. So the thing is, how do you do that? And obviously, if where there is no way, then obviously God has to make a way. So one of the things I've come to the conclusion that this coronavirus and the way people are responding, it is, every time I go outside, I despair. Not because of, I don't really care what people choose to do. That's entirely up to them. But it's the fact that I have to be in that environment among people. You see them running for a bus and putting the mask on at the same time. The bus pulls up and they're putting on the mask. And I think, how the hell did we get here? I mean, people are entitled to believe whatever they want. They can go with whichever wind of whichever way the wind is blowing. It's entirely up to them. But the thing is, if you're stuck in it and you're more intelligent. And I know people think, oh, look at her, who does she think she is? Look, at the end of the day, we're supposed to be able to self-appraise. And if if I'm more intelligent than the people around me, I'm supposed to know it. If the people around me are more intelligent than me, they're supposed to know it, and I'm supposed to know it. We're supposed to know our level. And so what I've come to realize is the problem I have is that I'm stuck in a world surrounded by people who are less intelligent. That may come across wrong, but that is the dilemma. Every time I step outside, I think, what the hell is this? This is literally how it was at church, but in the end I left. You see, I could do that. I could pick myself up and left, and then I had peace in my life. But how do you have peace in your life when you need to go out and about, especially with my sister being at the hospital? I've never spent so much time on the road. I'm out every day. So prior to my sister being ill, I could, and I've said this before, I could go as much as a week without stepping outside. So for me, lockdown was just, in fact, we were told we could only go out once a day on the lockdown. Once a day was more than enough for me, given that sometimes, as said, I could go without going outside for a week. So the terms of lockdown did not bother me at all. I was in my element. What bothers me is the fact that I need to go out there with these idiots who are terrified for their lives. The instruction is that the mask doesn't protect you, it protects other people. And I know that these dummies aren't, it hasn't computed, their brains, it hasn't computed in their brains that the mask isn't saving them, allegedly saving them, it's saving others, right? So when I see the behavior, and I think they're all desperately trying to save their lives. And I've asked the question before, and it may seem really horrible of me to say it, but what quality of life do some people have that they are so desperate to cling on to it? That's a question for people to answer for themselves. But I just want this thing to be done and finished with, so that not even so much that normality can resume, because I don't do normal anyway. So I would just like to be able to grow in the direction that I need to grow, because at the moment I just feel like it's not so much that my hands are tied, but wherever I go, I'm surrounded by idiots. Like last night, I went to the local Turkish shop up the road, and I popped my head in and I said, do I need a mask? And he said, no, just come in, because that is what I do. It's like, do I need a mask? Okay, right, I'll go somewhere else where I don't need a mask. And that's literally what I do. But you find, I think, a lot of people now, they realize it's stupid. It's just that they have to abide by the rules, and the rules are being laid out by idiots. So I don't do politics, I don't do politicians, I don't do leaders, nobody runs my life. The only person I look to for guidance is God. And so it is somewhat frustrating having the supposed leaders, they are not my leaders, telling you can't do this, you can't do that, and like, what's going to happen? Oh, there's a pandemic. Where is this pandemic? It's just stupid. And it's like, when you have higher intelligence, it is a hard thing. Little wonder they say ignorance is bliss. But I just thought, again, I say pick sense out of nonsense, but that was what came to me. And the thing with God, as soon as you get it, it's finished. So it's like, now I feel rejuvenated, but unfortunately I can't do any work, because like I said, I can't see which which is the wrong and which is the right side of the fabric, so I'll have to wait until morning. But it was just that, really. I just think that, well, I've never really taken instruction from people. I've never viewed the leaders as my leaders, say church, politics, wherever there are people leading people. I've never regarded celebrities. I don't idolize people. I treat everybody the same. I'm not a respecter of persons. I just think if you're intelligent, you're intelligent. If you're stupid, you're stupid. I don't care what field you find yourself in. But your level of intelligence, not your level of intelligence. Let's not confuse the two. Your level of education. I don't care that because you have high degrees. Um, I'm not going to regard you as intelligent. It's what comes out of you that informs me whether you're somebody that is worth listening to or not. And unfortunately, this is my struggle in the world. But thank you, God, for that little heads up on what the situation is. Because, sometimes when you know what it is, you actually feel better about it. Sometimes you can feel a bit confused, thinking, why do I feel like this? But now that I know, the bottom line is we must not take instructions from idiots. So whatever information is floating around, I will not pay any regard to it. And what will be, will be. I am hopeful that this nonsense will be over and done with soon enough. And I shall look forward to when I can go back to my level of normal. Not normal as you people know normal, but normal as I know it, where I am free to roam and do as I please. Obviously, I'm not a menace to society. It's just, I don't like the term free-spirited because it's cliched. I just like to do my own thing, and my own thing doesn't impinge on others. But right now, other people's thing is impinging on me big time, and I just my thing is I can't stand being around stupid people, right? And I know there are people who will say, oh, you shouldn't call people stupid, but stupid is as stupid does, so for me, I just want this whole thing to be done with. But unfortunately, I know it's not my sister's fault why she's ill, so I've got to keep every day on the road, every day mixing with people. But please God, let this thing be finished so that just so people can realize that it is what it is, and just to realize. I think it was the same thing with the Iraq invasion when they were saying. I remember distinctly one guy phoning up the radio, and this member of the public, oh, we should go and invade Iraq because Saddam Hussein is a madman and he's got weapons of mass destruction. And I remember thinking, and what do you know about it? And it's the exact same attitude. You've got these people out there, the mask brigade, sort of like wanting to have a go at people who don't wear masks. Because they're living in fear and terror, and they want to spread that to everybody else. I remember once I was at the hotel stroke gym, and I was in the sauna, and the fire alarm went off. And I'm a rational, logical person, and I don't do panic. I never panic, regardless of what's going on. So I'm in the sauna, and I think, logically speaking, by the time I come out of here, I can have my sauna, I can get dressed, and I can walk out of here. Nothing's going to happen. And I remember there was one woman, I think she was South American, Latino, and she was member of staff, and she seemed very much put out that I wasn't panicking. And because at one point I said, can I go back and get my phone? They got me a robe. They came and got me out of the sauna and gave me a robe. And I mean, nothing was happening. Nothing was going to happen. So I said, can I go and get my phone? But of course, people judge the situation and they assume it's because you're attached to your phone. So what I wanted my phone for was so I could call a cab and go home rather than just stand there idly doing nothing. So afterwards, a conversation developed between the manager and this woman and me, where it was like, oh, you mean you couldn't, you're worth, you think your life is worth risking for your phone? So when I explained the situation to them, eventually it flipped around, and she was saying, I wish I could be like you. How do you do it? this, that, and the other. Well, first of all, I don't react to other people's screams. People can scream and panic and do whatever they want. I don't respond to it. I think about things logically. And as I said, logically, what are the chances that by the time I finish in the sauna, get dressed and come out, the whole hotel's gonna catch fire and collapse to the ground? It didn't. As you can see, I'm still here alive. So I just think there are lots of things that people panic about. And if you just use logic and reason and have a bit of inspiration from God, right? Because that's what God will be there to do. God is there to give you inspiration in the moment that you need it. That's why I said I was aware of my sister needing the water, so I went and I bought these practicalities. So no, I'm not going to be wearing a mask under no circumstances will you catch me wearing one, because I don't feel it. If I don't feel it, then I don't do it. So I don't know. I'm at that point now where I am sick of the whole thing. I am really and truly sick of having to be among these types of people who collectively are idiots, right? So God being God will only give you as much as you can bear. And I think I'm at that point now where I've reached my limit. So please God, let this thing be finished soon. All right, so I think I'm done there. There's plenty, even though it may be a bit disjointed, but there's plenty to pick from my nonsense. So I'm out of here. See you guys later.